Hello my loves, welcome back to Zeke's Lunchbox. We are doing more sketchbook drawing today in this week's video, which is really exciting, and I'm really grateful to have you guys to force me. That's right, I said force because I wouldn't do it otherwise. I feel like with everything going on and trying to do the tarot card project, I never get enough time to just draw for myself and experiment and play. And this channel's a really good excuse for keeping me accountable and forcing me to do that. So thank you guys so much for always requesting the sketchbook stuff. I think we're just gonna keep with sketchbook content for a couple of weeks, apart from the studio tour, of course. I think for me, I'm in a really good rhythm of making the sketchbook videos, and also we are halfway through the sketchbook, and honestly, I think about this time last year I posted my sketchbook tour. It's kind of like an annual video over on this channel, and I'm sure many of you guys are from those videos, and that's the reason why you subscribed, and that's why you want to watch more sketchbook content. So obviously I want to give that to you guys as much as possible. I'm very behind on filling up this sketchbook, so thank you guys so much for always requesting sketchbook content. If you guys have any other ideas for experiments that you want to see in this sketchbook, please comment below. I'm always trying to brainstorm new ideas for videos, and I need some more excuses to play around and experiment. So if you have any more challenges or experiments that I should play around with, please comment them down below. So in today's video, we are going to draw the same face 3 times with 3 different mediums. Each face is going to be exclusive to that medium, and I think it's a fun experiment to see the end results of all 3 different mediums and which ones are beneficial for the subject matter and which ones aren't as beneficial. Maybe it'll give you guys some insight on what medium suits your style best, or if there's a particular look that you're going for, maybe this video will help you really characterize and figure out what medium suits your work. Before we head into it, I want to thank our sponsor Sudio earphones. I was lucky enough to have Sudio send me some of their earphones, so we're going to chat about these coming up in the video. Let's head into it. Hello everybody. So we are going to draw the same face with 3 different mediums, but what are those mediums gonna be? I wanted to pick some mediums that were really varied and all over the place, so we could really see how different mediums work with the same subject matter, so we can really compare everything and really have a broad range of things to pick from. So first up, we have gouache. So this is acryla whole bean gouache, whole bean or Holbein, Frankenstein gouache. So the acrylic gouache has more of an acrylic feel rather than just a regular chalky gouache feel. And last video we painted with these, and you know, I picked 3 random colors out of this batch here to make an artwork. If you haven't seen that video, I will link that down below. Thank you everybody for watching that video. I'm always trying to grow and learn on this channel, and yeah, I'm really loving all of these sort of experimental sketchbook videos. So that is medium number 1. Medium number 2, we are going to use, not highlighters, Posca markers. I feel like, you know, having a Posca marker will be a good option for us to see what a wet marker sort of looking medium is like. So we've got that option, and then lastly, colored pencils. You know, I think with colored pencils, I'm kind of dreading working and making an artwork with just colored pencils. I think it's a really slow medium that really tests my patience. And when it comes to my sketchbook, I like to just pump out pieces as quickly as possible. Of course, I use pencils all the time, but I only really use pencils in the initial stages when I'm making artwork. So making a whole piece with just pencils is going to be tricky. Now, what about colors? I am going to do my best to pick out colors that are pretty much similar throughout all the different mediums. I am gonna do my best to pick out all the different colors that match one another. I'm not gonna give myself a color limit because I feel like we already have some limitations here. And yeah, let's just pick out those colors now. So the color palette that I've picked is pretty much just a rainbow, so I can get like a broad spectrum of everything, but rather than like a traditional primary colored rainbow, it's more of a highlight fluoro rainbow. I wanted to pick the gouache colors first because that is the medium that I have the least of, so I knew the other mediums could be a little bit more forgiving when it comes to picking these colors. I have picked some extra blues just because with the paint I know that like I can mix these two colors to create more of a light colored blue, and also if I just use these dark blues straight out instantly, I think they're gonna be a little bit too heavy for the artwork, and I kind of need that like in between step between the green and the blue. All right, you guys, those are all the mediums, so let's pick our subject matter. Alright, so I am going over on Pinterest. In case you want to follow me over on Pinterest, it's just Zeke's Lunchbox. So you can save all of my art for later. If you want some inspiration from any of my work, you can head over to Pinterest and use this resource as well when you guys are making art. So I think we're just gonna stick with a regular schmegular old face. You know, it's kind of the most recurring thing that happens in this sketchbook. So let's just do a face so I can, you know, recreate that pretty easily in the sketchbook 3 times. I'm kind of tossing up whether or not like I want all 3 pieces across this whole spread. I guess that would make sense. I was tossing up doing like 1 head per page, but then we won't be able to compare all of them in one spot. The only annoying thing is that one of the mediums has to be in the middle, so it is at a little bit of a disadvantage, but I believe like if I use the paint in the middle, it'll be a little bit more forgiving. Okay, so I think I'm gonna go with this woman over here. You can see on Pinterest some other artists have already tried to recreate or, you know, use this artwork as a reference. I like the angles in her neck and the collarbone are really nice. I'm not sure if I'm going to get to do the collarbones and neck. I may just do like 3 floating heads with like a bun on the end, just to really keep the subject matter as simple as possible so we can really, you know, differentiate all the different mediums, which ones are pros and which ones are cons. Before we head into it, if you guys are new or this is your very first video on my channel and you know you're not really seeing this one subject matter 3 different mediums sort of challenge, if you're not seeing that as a challenge, I want to show you some context for my other artworks. I typically use a lot of mixed mediums in my sketchbook. For me, I find it's just so much easier when I use mixed mediums because not every tool is made for fine details and not every tool is made for big blocks of color. So typically I will start off with either a pen or a pencil to get my line art, then I'll go in with some gouache or watercolor to get the base blocks down, and then I'll go in with like Posca markers and then back to pencils to punch up and refine and sharpen things. So for me, just working with one medium to make one piece of art is going to be really difficult. I think I'm gonna have the least problems with paint because that's the medium that I'm most used to, and my predictions are I'm gonna have a lot of problems with pencil. Also think the Posca markers are going to be great initially, but then once I have to do all the detailed stuff, I'm gonna really struggle. So I might have to be inventive over there. All right, now another tricky thing that I have to do, I need to try and draw the same face 3 times. So just to keep it fair across all 3 mediums, I am going to use the same pen that I use all the time for sketching. I will get that out now. That is the Bic Classic Fine pen. I have this in a pack of black, blue, and red. The red I find is really good because I can still paint and draw over that, and it's light enough and thin enough for me to get lots of gestural strokes, and just for this particular paper, I prefer using this pen. With this sketchbook, the watercolor paper is a little bit toothy, so it's got a little bit of a grit on there and you can't really see like all the super fine details of a pencil. And I just find when I draw in pencil, after a couple of like, all it needs is like one little smudge of my hand and like all the details are gone. So a pen is just the best medium for me when I draw in my sketchbook. Alright you guys, here is the sketch. You can see from the first one to the last one, it's like evolving and getting bigger and bigger. Hey, I think that's just the natural rhythm of things, and that's just how it's gonna be. Even if I tried even harder and spent a lot more time on it, it would still be really difficult to get 3 identical drawings, but I think these will do for now. Alright, so I'm gonna start off with gouache in the middle here. So that way, like, once the gouache is drying, I can work on pencil and then I can work on Posca. The routine that I like to use when I'm using a lot of colors is I like to go from yellow to pink, and then on other areas I'll blend the yellow into the green and then go darker and darker to get more depth. These colors here are basically what I'll be starting off with, and then this stuff here will be what I create dimension and depth with. So yeah, let's just get into it. So while painting this, I got some serious flashbacks to when I first started using the moniker Zeke's Lunchbox. All the way back in 2006, in art classes in high school, I would always lean towards all the fluoro colors there. I know around that time fluoro was really in vogue. Do you remember wearing all of that fluoro wear to festivals? Anyway, I took that trend and really used that in my art, and I haven't really made much of fluoro art or made many pieces with just exclusive fluoro colors for, you know, that whole time. And I was getting some serious flashbacks to all the art that I used to make back then. So yeah, it was a nice little full circle moment of being able to, you know, use all of my new skills over the years, but then use the same color palette from back then. Yeah, it was a nice little cathartic moment. I was struggling, however, to build those subtle shadows that you get and the subtle curves that you get in a face with these colors, but you know, you just have to keep on pushing and keep on working it. Alrighty you guys, we are going to take a quick moment to go through the Sudio earphones that I've been sent. I don't know if you guys can hear the construction that's going on next door. I try and put a bunch of filters on these videos so you don't hear that, but it's a lot of work for me to concentrate and really figure out getting into the zone when I'm making, and I'm so grateful to finally have some Bluetooth earphones to do that. So let's unbox this and have a look. Okay you guys, so this is the Sudio box that they just sent me. I literally just got it in the mail just now, just covering up my address. So that's what those stickers are for. Let's reveal this thing. So I was not expecting a full-on package from them, so it's super generous of them to send that over. Thank you so much, Sudio. So wrapped up in tissue with their logo, very cute. What's this? Ooh, they sent a tote over, that's cool. I mean, what artist doesn't constantly need tote bags? Alrighty. Ooh, a little wallet. A little wallet, that's cool. That's so good because I've actually really been needing a new wallet. Right now I'm just using like a canvas purse, so something leather would be nice. Alrighty, the main event. Let's clean up here. Alrighty. Okay, let me get a blade to open this up. First of all, the graphic designer in me absolutely loves this typography. Honestly, I find the worst part about tech is that it doesn't come in color. We all know that I love color. And you know, the bigger brands don't come with lots of colorful designs. You often have to get your own packaging for that. So cute. Speaking of color, I know that Sudio stock their earphones in a ton of different colors. So if you're like me and you really love color, when you wear earphones, they ultimately are an accessory, a fashion accessory. So I want everything that I wear to be coordinated and work with my outfits. And I do wear a lot of green. And okay, awesome. I think like these will look so sick. I have a yellow undertone in my skin, so I requested green just so it would go well with my complexion. So I have the Sudio Neo headphones, and they come with the IPX4 rated protection. So that means that you can wear them in the rain and they won't ruin your listening experience. And they also have the dual microphone technology, which filters out unwanted microphone noise while you're on a call, which is super important, obviously, when you use these headphones. If you would like to grab your Sudio earphones, use my code Zeke's Lunchbox at checkout for 15% off. Head on over and grab some savings on the Neo headphones, and thanks for using my code. Let's do a little check-in of everything. So I've got the first layers of the gouache painting done. I'm honestly regretting the colors that I picked because they're actually all like way too light in the spectrum of colors. That being said, I still think it's a really good challenge. I guess it's too early to tell. I only have like the first layer on. I need everything to dry up a little bit for me to add some more layers and really refine some details, put some more dimension in the skin. This seam right in the middle is really difficult, but still just trying to work it out. So let's move on to pencils. I have just sharpened all of these pencils, and I don't know if I'm going to go exactly with the same colors that I've gone with in the gouache painting. I don't know. Instead of like planning and making hard and fast rules, I'm just going to play and see what happens. It's annoying me that like they're not all perfectly symmetrical, but we'll see how it goes in the end. I'm sure I can figure out how to fill the page nicely. All right, yeah, let's move on to pencil and go from there. Let me chat to you about the pencil techniques that I'm using here. You know, if you're unfamiliar with pencil, it's always useful to go super light with the pencil strokes and do little circular motions, and then eventually put the pressure a little bit harder and really build up that dimension, build up that color, build up that saturation. You know, with this technique, it is really good for just getting all of those blended areas and making sure that the colors are in the correct placement. And yeah, just keep on varying your texture and varying your strokes, and keep on pushing. Okie dokie, folks. So this is where we are up to currently, getting on with things, and honestly, I'm gonna call it with the pencil sketch. I know I didn't show too much of the process, but honestly, like once you just darken a couple of areas, I don't feel like I need to go super hard and render everything perfectly. I think leaving some areas undone is actually really pretty, and there's some beauty to that. I'm gonna go back to the gouache painting and darken up, you know, some key features like the eyes and the mouth, the ears, work on the silhouette, because really when I've been working on my sketchbook, I'm really finding that the silhouette is the most important part. Rather than spending all this time making every single detail super realistic, focus on your form more, and the rest will follow. But yeah, I'm actually really liking the combination of all the colors so far. Like I said, you know, I didn't know what direction I was going to go with when it came to the pencil sketch, and I kind of just went more instinctive with it all rather than like try to copy and paste everything. All right, so let's finish off the gouache and then we can move on to the Posca. Alrighty, you guys, so moving on to Posca markers. I was just trying to block out a lot of the subtle shadows and forms that occur in a face. And I'm really grateful to have picked a cold yellow and a warm yellow just to get that subtle difference. Anything harsher, I feel like it would create too much of a an illusion of being a really sharp object, and you know, faces are a lot more delicate and subtle. And then, you know, with the neck, I tried to do something a little bit more blocky and move away from the pointillism, but I was having issues really finding that balance of like creating the more block shapes but also getting the accurate dimension and depth that you would find in all the subtle shapes and ligaments in the neck. I don't think the placement of that green is really necessarily correct, and I think it's almost a little bit too harsh. I kind of wish I just went and did the same thing that I did with the face, where I just played around with the two tones of yellows first. But you know, I'm still, out of all the mediums, Posca is probably the one that I'm the least familiar with, so I'm still trying to figure out what my routine is, I guess, when it comes to Poscas. I'm still a little unsure of like how to completely use them for a full artwork, so the Posca illustration is definitely at a disadvantage because that's the medium that I know the least about. As soon as I added the dark blue Posca marker, that's when it felt like there was some, you know, proper dimension in the face and I was getting a lot more definition. And yeah, I felt like I definitely needed to put that outline, the blue outline, on the silhouette of her face to get some sharpness too. So, you know, it's just all about pushing through and keep on experimenting. Okay, you guys, I think this is as finished as it's going to get. You know, when it comes to sketchbook stuff, I don't like rendering completely because that kind of defeats the purpose of it being a sketchbook. I think it looks really beautiful when it's a bit undone. They all look so different. It's wild to me that they don't look like, you know, they're all from the same reference. I did the exact same thing every single time, except they all look completely different, which to me is pretty fascinating. I guess we'll go left to right and chat about each one. So the Posca, I think that this one I spent the least amount of time on. I did a lot of pointillism with this piece because there's a lot of blending that needs to be done when it comes to getting all the subtleties and the subtle curves in the face. I found the collarbone neck area the most difficult with this medium. I was tossing up doing a more block-like illustration with the Poscas. However, I'm just not really well equipped with like that whole pop art aesthetic, blocking everything out and then filling them in. It honestly, for me, that sort of work just doesn't come naturally. Yeah, I just find it really difficult. So instead, you know, I did a lot more pointillism, which I don't know if that's necessarily perfect. I would probably do a lot more exclusive Posca pieces if I'm like really wanting to pump out a lot of ideas. I think it's definitely really good for speed and making things just a lot more efficient. So I don't know. I didn't have as much fun with this one. Just you guys can let me know how you feel about the Posca illustration in comparison to the others. I just feel like it's not getting as much depth and I didn't have as much fun with it. That being said though, it is the last one that I did, so maybe that has something to do with it, you know? So I think at the top of the video, I kind of predicted that I wasn't going to like, I predicted I wasn't going to like the pencil the most. And my predictions are I'm going to have a lot of problems with pencil. Now, moving on to the gouache piece. I think the saturation in the gouache one and the depth is the strongest out of the bunch. But that being said, I thought I was going to have the most fun with the gouache, but in the end, I think the pencil actually was the best one that I had the most fun with. I think what really messed me up is like the crease in the middle. I was getting really confused with the neck. Even just looking at it objectively, the neck looks really funny. And if that was the look that I was going for, I did cheat a little bit. I used a little bit of white just to clean up around here because I smudged the paint ever so slightly. And after a while, without using white to mix my paint, I did find that it was really tricky for me to get that layering effect that I'm so used to when it comes to painting. I think objectively, I do really like the gouache one. It's funny how like they all just turned out so different. I think I prefer the face, the gouache piece the most, but I think the neck is my least one out of the three. Moving on to the pencil. I am very surprised at how much I enjoyed working with just pencil. I really thought it was going to be laborious and slow and I would just really hate it. But I think just with the scale of the sketchbook, the pencil is, you know, a medium that I think suits the scale of the sketchbook the most, and therefore I was able to get a decent amount of detail and sharpness into the face. Finished off the piece with this pencil here, it just really elevated it to another level. I think the profile on the pencil one is the strongest, especially if you compare them all. The profile on the pencil one, to me, I think is the most sharp and probably the most realistic. Now, in terms of likeness to the original, I don't think I have much likeness whatsoever. Maybe a little bit in this one. I didn't quite land right shape of her nose, but you know, that's just how references go. I would love to hear your thoughts on what you guys think of all of these illustrations all together. Did you learn anything about all the different mediums and what they do and what their pros and cons are? If you did, comment below and let me know what you learned, and also let me know out of the three which one is your favorite. Is it Posca, gouache, or pencil? Comment down below. All right, you guys, we are done with this week's video. Thank you so much for requesting this particular challenge and experiment. It was really interesting seeing the different results of each individual medium. If you guys think I should do this again, please comment below and let me know what mediums I should experiment with next. If you're unsure about what art tools I have a organizing my art studio video down below, and you can see the range of art tools that I have. I don't use a massive range of art tools, but I think it's enough to still do this experiment one more time. And before we head out, don't forget to use my code Zeke's Lunchbox for 15% off at Sudio, where you can grab your Bluetooth earphones over there. All right, you guys, thank you so much for watching. If you like the video, of course, give it a like and subscribe. I really want to grow to 40K by the end of the year. Very ambitious, but hey, let's just put it out there. I will catch you guys next week. Catch you later. Bye.